Today we're going to make we're still working on the slab, and we're going to make a fluted bowl. Hey Barb, hey Chris. So hopefully you can see how easy you too can create at home. And that you can use simple tools that you have at home. You don't need anything special to create, just joy in your heart and a willingness to try and learn. So again, yeah, it's me, Kirk. Hey. So we're going to start with a nice piece of clay. This is about 1 pound of clay. And again, we're going to use an open and relaxed hand. It's important that it stays open and relaxed and you avoid using your fingertips. Because again, if you use your fingertips at all, it will create those air pockets, air bubbles, thin spots, weak spots. And those are places where cracks, warps, and fissures may happen. So open and relaxed hand. And as long as you keep the ball or sphere moving around and keep rotating it in every single way or every direction, it'll come out spherical. You can also throw it on the tabletop, and that will help to compress and condense the clay. And notice how I'm constantly moving it. You can roll it, you can slap it, it spins according to your dominant hand. But what we're doing again is just compressing, condensing, making it a nice strong clay body, just in case it's loose, and introduce you to maybe how soft the clay may be, or the moisture content, density, all of that. So once you feel like you're ready, you're going to take your ball of clay. Hey Wade, hey Elise. How you guys doing? Sorry, fiddling with the phone. I know we shouldn't fiddle with the phones. So anyway, so you're going to take your ball of clay and you're going to slam it down. So you can work at home on like newspaper or canvas or cloth, or you can work outside for easy cleanup. But this is just canvas covered on a table. So now with clay, it's super important that whichever direction you stretch the clay out the most in, that's the direction it's going to shrink the most in. So you want to evenly distribute the mass of the clay in every single direction, and that does include the side that has touched or received the excess force from the table and gravity, and as well as the side that was exposed to the atmosphere. So whatever you do to one side, you must always do the same thing to the opposite or parallel side to avoid those cracks, warps, and fissures. And slam it down. Again, I'm using the fullness of my hand, supporting the full surface area through the full mass of the clay. If you pick up the clay at all with your fingertips, like it's a piece of paper, again, you're going to make those weak spots or thin spots, and your pieces are going to crack. So with the slab, we're going to take our clay, turn it that quarter turn, and flip it over. And you can take a quarter turn, and again, supporting the clay with the fullness of your hand, with the full surface area, the full mass, and slam it down. You're going to notice your clay is a little bit thick in some areas, and that's okay. The ideal thing when working in slabs is you want your clay to be an even thickness throughout this whole process. If you go too thin, too fast, again, your pieces are going to crack. If you have a thick to a thin spot, it's going to crack. So you're going to turn it that quarter turn, and now you can just kind of slap it a little bit. And then turn it that quarter turn, and turn it over, and then slap it. Turn it that quarter turn, and again, supporting with the fullness of your hand, with the full mass. Turn it over, and slap. Turn over, and slap. And so, we're going to keep in mind the shape I'm going to work in today. I'm going to work in this round shape, so I'm going to aim for that. Constantly turning and rotating the slab again, evenly distributing the mass in every direction. So now I'm going to work on these dowels. These dowels act like a bumper to ensure that I have an even thickness of clay. And when we roll our clay, we roll fingertips past the wrists. If we do these short, choppy motions like when we're baking, again, you're going to create a thin to a thick spot, and the clay is going to remember that force or pressure. And again, that's where it's going to crack, warp, or fissure. And whatever we do to one side, we must always do to the opposite or parallel side. So there's always more than one side to every story. And then once you notice your clay is no longer expanding, you can move down to your next size dowel. And I like these, especially with beginners with rolling out slabs. It ensures an even thickness. And again, notice when I flip the slab, use the fullness of my hand, and roll nice long fluid motions, fingertips past the wrists. Now I'm at the 3/8, so I'm going to move down to the quarter dowels. Again, Fingertips past the wrists, nice long motions. When you're picking up your slab, again, avoid using the fingertips as much as possible and support the full mass of the full clay through the full surface area with the fullness of my hands. And as your slab is growing, or the surface area is becoming larger, I like to use the table to help support the mass of the clay so nothing's hanging off and being pulled down by gravity. Fingertips past the wrists. Again, we're going to turn that quarter turn, flip. Fingertips past the wrists. Because even if your clay doesn't break today, there's still a chance it's going to break in the kiln if you don't pay attention to how you make your slabs. And yes, there are slab machines, but without properly understanding what it means to make a proper slab by hand, a machine's just going to make really crappy work faster. And you're going to make big pieces and they're going to be cracking and you're not going to understand why, and it's going to be it's always very sad. So just learn how to build them by hand first before you start moving up to the more powerful machines. And that way you have a better appreciation and you know what you need to fix. Oh, move my tools around. Okay, so now I'm moving down to this kind of skewer shape dowel. And again, fingertips past the wrists. This is a little bit thinner, just a tad bit thinner than the 1/4 inch. Fingertips past the wrists. One more. Just in case. Fingertips past the wrists. Now, one thing that's super important about clay is you don't really want to judge yourself. You don't want to judge your pieces. You don't want to judge your process. You don't want to be mean to yourself. You know, it takes a long time to develop these skills, and if you are too mean to yourself in the beginning, you're not really going to learn, and it's just going to be miserable and no fun. So, you know, be gentle with yourself as you would with the clay, and try not to be so mean to yourself, because we have this problem with judging ourselves or comparing ourselves to great people like Da Vinci and Van Gogh, and we have to remember that it took them a whole lifetime to get where they're at. So just, you know, be patient with yourself. So I'm going to use a form today, a hot mold simple former. I'm just going to use this plate, plastic plate. Again, I picked this up at some secondhand store, upcycling store. I love to rescue things and upcycle. I have a huge passion for upcycling and upcycling art, but I don't like buying new plastic. But when it's at the resource or whatever, I don't mind as much because it doesn't register on the GDP. So now, this is a non-porous surface. It's plastic, glass, or metal. So if we add too much pressure to the plate as we cut out our form, your clay may stick. So be careful putting too much pressure on the plate, but just enough so the plate doesn't move when you cut. So now I'm going to use the skewer, and I recommend using it straight up and down in the vertical position. So that way you can create the same type of cut all the way around the edge or perimeter of your piece. If you try to hold like a weird 45-degree angle, it's just, it's impossible. It's a nightmare. You create this really ugly, rough lip cut, which ends up becoming super razor sharp. So now you're gonna ball up your scraps, put them to the side. I recommend wrapping them up so you can use them for later. Very gently peel off your form. So now with the piece, you're gonna notice wherever you cut, there's going to be these burrs or crumbs all the way around the edge or perimeter of your form that we just cut out. And those again will become super razor sharp in the kiln when the glaze melts on it. So I like to add just a little bit of water to my fingertips, just a drop, just enough so that my fingertips can glide very gently, very softly all the way around that edge or perimeter. Be very careful of pressing down or pressing out the clay. We're not really pressing the clay. We don't want it to deform. What we just did, if you add too much pressure, it will deform, but what we do want to is incorporate that cut because it's kind of aerated, it's kind of fluffy, and we want to condense that. And again, it's super important not to judge yourself. Don't focus on your imperfections and don't focus on the mistakes because you're just going to highlight them and make them worse. But instead, just complete the cycle, just keep going around that circle, and everything will work themselves out. And then, once you feel like you want to focus on something too much, move on. Let's go ahead and again, very gently lift up your piece, supporting again the full mass through the full surface area with the fullness of your hands. Very gently flip over your slab. A slab is a flat piece of clay. If you just drop your slab, it will deform. It may it will thin, because again, gravity is going to be working against the table and the clay has nowhere else to go but to thin out, and that's not what we want, because if you get too thin, it will crack or fissure. And again, I'm just adding just a drop of water to my fingertips, just enough so my fingertips can glide. Just a little bit of lubrication so it can glide around those edges. Gliding is the key word. Soft, gentle, slow, gliding, full strokes. Just to show you guys on here. So with the clay, we don't want to press down the clay, because that's going to become super razor sharp with this thin sharp thing here. But instead what we want to do is round off this perimeter or a lip. We want it rounded this way, because when we cut the clay, we created two 90-degree angles. The 90-degree angle that's exposed to the atmosphere on this side, as well as the 90-degree angle that's exposed to the tabletop. So we don't want to thin it out at all, but instead round it out. Round shapes are some of the strongest shapes in nature. The roundness, ceramics likes domes, spheres, shapes, spherical shapes as much as possible. It's basically a glassy, shiny rock, good for 10,000 years if you take care of it. So I'm going to use this kind of cool stamp thing that I found again at some secondhand store. I just love treasure hunting and rescuing things, but anything that has a 3D quality you can use as a textural quality in your clay. Flowers that are popping up. So I'm just going to lay this guy just right on top. Why not? And maybe I'll put my little dowels to the sides just in case I don't want it to get too thin. And then very gently, I'm just going to roll. Just make it easy. And you can easily do this with canvas, or if you have a cool doily, this is really nice. One thing I like to do before I pull off my texture tool, I like to check it first. It's a little bit shallow, it's not deep enough, so I'm going to leave it so I don't have to match it back up, and I'm just gonna get another little bit more gentle push. That's a little bit better. Let's see how this side looks. That side looks much better. So now, if you have a texture tool like this, this non-porous thing, be very careful peeling it off the surface. So you don't want to rip that beautiful work you just did, but just go very slow, very gently. You know, you may have to, oh, that's a little bit shallow, so maybe I'll just leave that and I'll just press. That's a little better. That looks much better. And that's super cute. Easy peasies, pretty much done. Done, done, done. I like done. I like quick. I like making gifts pretty quickly. So I'm just going to now sign the back. So everything you make, super important to put your name, Natalie, and the date. I don't remember the date. I am so sorry. I'm just going to say April. But I think the date is super important, you know, not only for yourself 10 years from now, but say 10,000 years from now when archaeologists dig these pots up out of the ground. And then I'm going to put this cute little studio chop, a little Year of the Rat stamp. It's the Year of the Rat. Easy peasy, cute. Another thing too I'd like to emphasize about clay, the less you do, the better. When we start to create, we get excited and we just want to keep touching it and messing with it. But just like people, clay needs to rest, and you can overwork the clay. So the less you touch it, the less you mess with it, the cleaner, the nicer your piece will be. But again, that will come with time and effort. So again, we're going to take our slab very gently, trying to support the fullness of the clay. I put the strips of paper on my slump mold, top mold, simple former, or cookie, and I'm going to center my slab as best I can. And what's nice is that you can kind of gauge with your fingertips pressing against the floor and see how far out the clay comes. And you can center it that way. Sweet. So now you'll notice you already have these natural flutes forming. So we're not, again, squeezing the clay, we're not pinching the clay, we're just gently asking the clay to take the form we present it with. If we think of squeezing or pinching at all, again, we're going to thin the clay, that's where it's going to crack or fissure. So I'm just going to go kind of at the sides here, just fingers, and just kind of gently start indicating of where maybe I'd like my little flutes to be. If you go, again, too hard, too fast, and put that form in there, it might crack in the future. So instead, just, again, keep going around the circle. I'm just adding 1 point against 2. I have these 2 points of my finger against this middle point to create my flute. fluted edge. If I'm not pinching, I'm not squeezing, I'm not folding terribly hard, not to the point where I'm misshaping the clay at all. And then again, don't focus on the imperfections or mistakes because you're just going to highlight them and make them worse. So instead, you just do it again. You know, don't add all of the shape all at once, but just keep going. Clay likes repetition, less time and effort. And there, you made a cute little fluted bowl, perfect for salads or gifts. Maybe we'll add an incense burner to it. And the last thing about working in this wet steady clay is just leave your clay on the form until it's completely bone dry. Dry. If we take the clay off the form too soon, it will slump back into being a flat piece of clay and it will misshape, it will succumb to gravity. So just leave it on there, go do something else, go make something else, and just leave them be. And that's a fluted bowl, super easy peasy. And I hope you enjoyed that today. And I hope you have a beautiful weekend.